There's nothing more important than securing an additional revenue stream before a recession. Just about every business owner that I know has seen a significant decline in their revenue. So if you have a side hustle right now, you could be in the exact same boat shortly. But there's a subset of side hustles out there that will actually blossom during a recession. So that makes this quite literally the perfect time to get started with one of these side hustles. So the first side hustle on our list here taps into the strong emotion of fear that comes on before and during a recession. As I'm sure you're aware, the Federal Reserve went on an aggressive interest rate hike cycle, and a 30-year mortgage is currently sitting at around 7% interest. And this has put the entire housing market on ice with very little activity. So what you could offer here is a simple home staging business as a side hustle. You see, before rates went through the roof, homes were selling very fast, but that is just not happening anymore. Now, it often takes staging the property and then months of showings with marketing just to get an offer, especially in luxury markets. So there are literally hundreds of thousands of people out there right now sitting on listings that aren't moving, that are scared about the future uncertainty. And that is your potential customer base here. So let me tell you about how the home staging hustle works. There's usually two options for how you do the business. The first option is to pay an upfront cost for the entire home staging, and then the furniture is taken away after the sale of the property, and that usually costs anywhere from $3,000 to $5,500. Option number two is where you pay the home stager an upfront fee, and then you pay them every single month that you have the furniture. So that's typically about $1,000 upfront and then $500 monthly to rent that staging furniture from you. But how do you get the money to actually start this business? The good news is you can get it from your very first client. That's because you could get one paying client, go out there to discount furniture stores or scour Facebook Marketplace, and all you have to do is buy your furniture once. After that, you can reuse it over and over again for different staging clients, adding to your portfolio of staging furniture over time. So if you want to get started with this side hustle, reach out to people in your area with houses for sale that are currently empty and offer a simple staging service for about $2,500. Once you get your first client, you can go out and purchase the staging furniture as well as business insurance and anything else that you might need. Hey guys, before we get into the next side hustle idea, I need you to subscribe, hit the bell, and turn on all notifications if you're serious about creating additional income streams. Now, if you don't want to move furniture around all day, the next side hustle idea might just be for you. During the pandemic, the vast majority of Americans received stimulus checks, and most people spent those on things that they wanted. However, now that times are getting tough, a lot of people are now unloading the jewelry or watches or handbags that they purchased with that money, meaning there's the potential for you to flip these items for a profit. So this side hustle entails focusing on one particular product or niche within the luxury goods market, and then essentially cornering that market in your local area and making money by flipping that luxury good. So let's say, for example, you have somebody who has a Louis Vuitton handbag and it's a Tuesday and they need to pay rent by Friday. While they could list it on eBay to get top dollar, they're not going to be able to get their money in time. So somebody like this might be willing to sell that Louis Vuitton handbag 20, 30, maybe 40% below market value because of the urgency of their situation. So you could simply go out and buy these things and resell them on eBay, making at least a 20 to 30% profit margin on every item you flip. Now, I do have to mention, of course, that you have to be extremely careful with luxury goods because counterfeits run rampant. And I'll tell you right now, if you buy one fake Rolex, you're gonna be done for and you're not gonna have a successful career flipping. So that's why it's so important to focus on one particular niche, one product that you know well where you can identify if it's legitimate or is this potentially a counterfeit. Once you decide on your niche, you can check out websites like Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace daily and even set filters for these particular items. But what I would recommend doing on top of of that is sourcing off-market deals. You see, everything on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace is what's called an on-market deal. It's somebody who is looking to actively sell that item. But there's countless people out there, probably right in your local area, who own these items that might be willing to sell them, but they just aren't actively thinking about selling them. So what I would recommend doing is creating simple signs like "I buy Louis Vuitton" and then plastering those signs all over your local area to begin sourcing off-market deals. And as the recession pushes through, truthfully, the deals are just going to get better and better as people become more fearful. Now, the next hustle is definitely not for everyone, but it does do very well in a recession. During a strong economy, tow truck drivers spend the majority of their time helping out with flat tires, pulling cars out of ditches, and things like that. However, in a bad economy, they often shift gears and move into vehicle repossessions. And that's because there are millions of people out there who are behind or delinquent on their auto payments. And the banks that own these vehicles will often pay good money to these repo people for going out and retrieving those assets, because the bank is then able to sell that vehicle and recoup some of the money that they lost on that bad loan. While there is a lot of money to be made in this line of work, it's definitely not for everyone. It can be dangerous, it can be extremely confrontational, and there's also the emotional factor that goes into this line of work. But at the end of the day, somebody's got to do it. So if you actually want to look into this hustle, the very first thing you're going to want to do is look into your state's repossession laws, as these vary from state to state. In most cases, there's going to be license and permit requirements, and there's also that all-important business insurance, so be sure to look into all of those things on your own. From here, you simply need a tow truck, and you have two options. Option number one is you could go out and just buy a tow truck for about $50,000 to $100,000, or option number two is you could rent a tow truck to use for your business. But how much money is there to be made in the repo business? Well, that largely comes down to whether you're looking at a voluntary repossession or an involuntary repossession. As the name suggests, a voluntary repossession is where a delinquent customer is voluntarily having their vehicle taken away because they can't afford their payments. And if you're picking up one of these vehicles, you can expect to make anywhere from $150 to $200 per vehicle. But the real money is in these involuntary repossessions, and that's also most likely where you're going to find the real danger. However, in these scenarios, the owner of the vehicle does not know that their vehicle is being repossessed, but the bank is willing to pay you a lot more money, often up to $500 per vehicle. Most repo men report grabbing 4 to 5 vehicles per week, so if you think about how many hours go into that, you can make a lot of money for a very small amount of work. And during a recession, the number of repossessions only goes up. The last side hustle on the list once again taps into the strong emotion of fear that's present during a recession. Assets like real estate, stocks, etc. have all come down in price from their highs after the pandemic. However, the same exact thing is true for business assets out there. For example, digital assets like blogs are now selling for less than I've ever seen them selling for. And that's also because people are fearful over these automation technologies like ChatGPT. But the ironic thing is that you can actually use ChatGPT to accelerate your blog. So what I recommend doing, and it sounds funny, is I would make offers that legitimately might get you screamed at or yelled at or somebody swearing at you because of how lowball the offer is. And if you go out and make just 10 offers like this, all you need is one person to say yes, and you could get the deal of a lifetime on a business asset. And if you don't have any money up front, there's a category of businesses for sale out there that offer owner or seller financing, which means you pay them over time after taking on ownership of the business. So you can literally use the profits of the business to pay for the business if it makes sense for you to do so. Now, with all of that being said, please be extremely careful if you're purchasing an online business. Use an escrow agent, hire an attorney for the transaction, and make sure everything is completely legit. So guys, I hope you're now looking at the upcoming recession as an opportunity to make money and nothing to be fearful of. Once again, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell, and turn on all notifications so you don't miss my next side hustle video. Lastly, I wrote a book about how to start and grow your own side hustle. It's available in person at Barnes & Noble, or you can also find it on Amazon or Audible. This is a step-by-step guidebook on how to create your own secondary income stream, or possibly multiple different income streams. There's also copies at libraries across the United States, so check your local library as well. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys, and I hope to see you next time.